Community is a nonprofit impact investor advancing digital equity. What that means is we'll support communities both on the planning side, how do you get to shovel-ready, investment-ready, but also how do you capitalize the project? Because if you don't have the capital, you might as well not have the plan as well, right? And so I think we've learned three really big lessons. First one was oftentimes our biggest value add is that of translation. Right? When we think about broadband, when we think about finance, federal and state programs, there's a web of jargon, right, that communities need to sift through, when really at the end of the day, they're raising their hands and just saying, we need connectivity. So a lot of the translation we'll try to do is code switch, honestly, from finance speak. What does that mean for your community? Different interest rate levels, or capital from this provider or that provider. What does that technology design mean for your short-term and long-term connectivity? Code switching between the bill of materials when you might see like GPON or XG. What does that mean for your community? So really trying to empower and enable them to make informed decisions. I think the second one is for us, we had to really unpack the word risk. Oftentimes in our investment committee, we would hear, the conversation would be like, oh, that investment sounds too risky. It's like, well, which part of it, right? Is it that it's in a low-income community? Is it that it's in a rural community? Is it that it's in a majority, community of color? Like, let's unpack risk. And so I think in that process, some of the aha moments that we had was, if we think about just the very nature of broadband economics with where bandwidth consumption is going, it's been growing 35% annually. It's going to continue growing 35% annually for the foreseeable future, which means from an investor hat, it's stable and predictable cash flows. That sounds very financeable, right? And so let's be careful with how we're using the word risk. And then I think the last major lesson has really been around how can we use our position as a capital provider to provide, really create a seat at the table for community and community voice. I think historically, a lot of networks have been built between investors and ISPs, almost a bilateral conversation, and that allows each to really extract a lot of value. By having a capital provider that says, no, this seat right here is going to be for community, then I think that we can start creating mechanisms that protect community interest as part of that conversation.